What's up, guys? John Dominique Prize Pics coming at you a little bit upside down from an awkward angle. I apologize for that. This is the best I can do with what I have. I have to try to set it up so I can show you guys my collection. Now, this is a collection of the tools that I use to do my make pictures. Kind of a hybrid shooter. I do film and digital. I have a small collection, but it is growing. And this is mostly, and I don't know, not an amateur, but maybe an intermediate photographer. I don't consider myself a professional. I don't make a living with this, but I'm an enthusiast. Maybe I like mid-level equipment, mostly on the lens side. Some of these camera bodies are not the professional, like they're mostly like the amateur camera bodies. But the lenses, I'm very big on lenses. I love a good lens. I don't know where to start, to be honest with you. My collection has been slowly building. Let's see, my most recent acquisition was this guy here. This is a Minolta Maxim 3XI. I've only had it for a couple of weeks. I do not have any film loaded in this guy yet. I got this guy, didn't think, well, I wasn't planning on even keeping the body because I really wanted the lens, basically. This is a Minolta Maxim 50 millimeter 1.7 lens. It is autofocus, although I believe you can use manual focus as well. I always told myself I wanted to try the Sony Alpha line of cameras, so I ended up getting this, and I wanted to get this lens. I have not set my eye on any of the Sony Alpha cameras yet, but I'm thinking to myself, because I have already an extensive collection, it'd be difficult for me to use all of these. I want to hang on to this for the lens itself, and the body works. So I'm kind of like, maybe I'll just keep this and not try to get a Sony Alpha camera. Maybe just put a roll of film and see how I like it. I know it's going to be fun. Minolta has that style of just having fun. Like, they're just fun cameras to shoot. And I know, here I did some research on the body of this camera. It's not that highly regarded, I think, because of the autofocus is not that great. It hunts a little bit in low light, and I found that it does tend to do that. But it's not bad. It actually is quite an engineering feat when you look at it. Like, I'll put my finger on halfway depress, and it's like this thing is always focusing. As soon as you put your hand, I think, on this right here, it like gives you a reading, and it'll start to focus. It'll pre-focus, which is really great. If the pictures come out good on this guy and it's just a working condition, I'll probably just end up keeping it. I don't know yet how I feel about it, but I'm going to try it out, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun, like I said, because Minolta cameras are always fun to shoot. It's in good condition. It operates from what I can tell. So I think I'm going to hang on to it for a while. It did come with it came with one other lens. I think it's this guy here. This is a kit lens, a 35 to 80. I don't really use kit lenses that much, but I'll try it out for a couple of shots and see what it does. If it's any good, I'll probably keep it. I don't know. It's got like the aperture rating is like at 4.0 at the widest, and I don't know if that's going to be enough light for me, but maybe in good light. I live in Florida, so I'll probably make this thing shine if I need to, if I want to. Like, it's got a good focal range. Again, I don't really use zoom lenses that much, but I'll try it out and see what it does. If it's good, I'll end up keeping this too. Shoot, if it's working in good condition, got it for good price, so can't complain about that, guys. You know what I mean? Next guy I want to talk about is probably the next Minolta. Let's go to the next Minolta here. This is my Minolta X370, X370. And again, I got this one because of the lens. Really good price. It's in pristine condition. This is a 58 1.4 Roker. This is my first 1.4 lens. It's all manual. Well, the lens is manual, but the body is manual too, but it takes a battery for it to function. So I don't know how I feel about that, if that's considered a manual camera or not. The operations is manual, but the light meter and to power the shutter, it does need a battery. I think I put an LR44 at the bottom of this guy here, and it works great. I was not planning on this camera to work either, but now that I got it and I shot it with it, I've put a roll of film through this already, and it's beautiful. It works so great, and it's fun. Something about Minolta, when you pick up these cameras and you shoot them, you're like having a blast, and you're just into the moment. It's something about it. I don't know what it is, but Minolta to me really touches my heart, and this has a place in my collection because it's so much fun to use. Now, the only thing I don't like about it is there's no preview, depth of field preview, but otherwise the controls are good. It's got, like, the shutter speed dial is right here, which is real convenient. Everything that I can see so far works great on it. And the roll of film I put through it, the film came out good. The exposures were right on. It had, the photos it takes are pretty good. I don't say the best, but they're good enough for what I want to do. And this camera is great. I want to keep this guy for sure. And I have one other lens for this guy, which would be, this is a Vivitar, Vivitar 70 to 200 Series 1. Got this guy for a great price as well. Really great price. I cannot complain. I didn't think I'd like this lens that much, but I do. The elements, when you let that light come into it and it gives you that glare, those flares, it's got like a lot of elements, and you can see like a lot of flares. It's really a nice looking effect. I want to try to exploit that with this lens. It's a long lens, with micro four thirds. This is like really a 140 to like 400, or to 420. Now the only thing is that the focus, or I guess this is the the focus ring, it kind of like by itself, it'll just kind of go down by itself. If you hold it upside down or whatever, you can see it's not that tight, but I enjoy this lens very much. It's in good condition. I use an adapter here, as you can see. I try to keep it at f3.5 at the brightest aperture if possible. If not, stop it down in case I need more depth of field. If I'm doing some long range shooting, it's got a good focal range. It's useful. And again, I'm not very big on zoom lenses at all, but for some reason I'm enjoying this one. Maybe I'll get a couple more in the future, but this is a great pickup for me, and I'm very happy with it, very pleased. The images come out with a lot of character, and I like that. It's got like a purple feel to it, a purple tinge. I really enjoy this lens. I'm going to move on now to this Canon EF camera. This is Black Beauty, known as the Black Beast. Black Beauty, I think is what they call it, not the Black Beast. But I bought this lens at a great price as well. I got this camera at a great price, bought it used. And it has been a beast, a workhorse. It's heavy, I'm not going to lie to you, but its operation, it's got a depth of field preview right here, which is really handy. I love the way the shutter sounds when it cocks and you hit that. Yeah, I just like that for some reason. It's very mechanical, very hands-on, very tactile. It's got the split prism focusing ring in the middle of the focus and the focus screen. Um, I used to I had batteries in here and it works with batteries at meters, but the last time I put batteries in here, it drained the batteries and I got mad and I took them out. I'm not going to put batteries in here anymore. I think it still works at these lower shutter speeds without a battery, but this is a real workhorse and this will stay with me for a long time. I think I want to keep this one. Right now, I've got the macro lens, a 50 millimeter f3.5 macro lens on here. And this is a great macro lens. I adapted it to my Micro Four Thirds cameras. When I didn't have a macro lens, it served me very well. This is a very sharp lens. It's great for close-up shots. It only goes 1:2, not 1:1 ratio, but it's still very usable. And the lens is solid. Like these cameras, these Canon cameras seem like they'll last forever. It's very solid in the hand. Like I said, it's heavy. It's a beast. It does its job very well. Maybe it's just a little engineered and built a little too well. Like it doesn't. You don't need to have the camera so freaking diesel. But I'm not gonna complain. This I got this at a great price. The lens I kind of bought, paid mostly market value for it, but it was worth it. And I enjoyed this camera a lot. I want to keep this. I already had some exposures with it and it came out good. The ones that I had the films developed with this camera were with this lens here. This is the 28 f2.8 lens. It's good close-up abilities. I've adapted it to my Micro Four Thirds as well, but it's light. It's cheap. I got this one at a great price as well. I could not. I had to buy this one. I couldn't pass up the how cheap it was. And this is a good lens. 28 millimeters is like one of the focal lengths I started off with when I started, and I really enjoyed it. And I want to have that focal range because most of my other primes are like 50, 40 millimeters, but I wanted to have something a little bit wider. And this is my 28 millimeter lens and it serves me well. It goes good with the Canon FD system, FD mount. Let's stick with Canon. I've got a Canon QL17. I've got a roll of film going through here now, black and white. I had this camera 3 or 4 times in the past, and I ended up selling it because I just kind of didn't use it as much as I should have. But I like the form factor. I'm not going to lie to you. It's easy to carry. It's light. The lens is super sharp. The images that come out of here are really fire. I don't like, though, it's kind of fiddly changing the controls. That's the only thing I don't like because the rings around, to change the shutter speed and the aperture dials, they're very stiff and they're hard to turn and they're not easy to find. So it's a little bit fiddly. But once you set this up, you set it and forget it, basically. Now the meter doesn't work in this guy, but I don't, I'll use my cell phone or whatever for metering. That's not a problem. But I like the form factor. I like the range that the rangefinder patch is on the side, like at the top left hand corner. For some reason, it's some sort of style that just gets you. I don't know. It's easier to you can keep both your eyes open easier with this. You can still do it with SLR cameras, but for this one, it makes it a little easier. It's more of a street style camera, and the only thing is that it doesn't do close-ups very well. It's limited with how close you can get. But it's a good street photography camera. I will continue to use it. Black and white film with got a yellow filter on here to increase the contrast. But this is a solid buy. These will last for a long time as well. They're built to a nice standard. And I want to keep this guy and use it and use it and use it more and more because it's easy to carry. And that's one of the things, I kind of underestimated convenience, but now that I see how great it is, like this and the Micro Four Thirds systems that are a little bit smaller, easier to carry, it just makes life easier and makes me want to shoot, makes me want to take this camera out and shoot. But I do have other cameras, and these other cameras some cameras tend to get less love than others, I don't know if you if anybody can understand that, but I'm sure people with extensive collections can understand that. My collection is still kind of small, it's still growing. I'm going to talk next about this. I just didn't get this one too long ago either, maybe last month, a Fujica ST605N, and I got this guy for my collection of M42 lenses, screw mount lenses. And I love these lenses. I got the same exact lens. This is the Pentax Takumar 1.2 55 millimeter. I got this lens for free at one point, and I had that lens and I liked it and I adapted it to my cameras and I fell in love with it. I was like, man, I gotta have. It's like a good lens for, to me, it's like a fine art lens. It's very accurate. It's the word I want to say, and it's got a certain look and a feel to it on the images. When I want to make like some fine art images, this is the lens I reach for. This particular one, I had this one twice as well. So this is the second one of these lenses that I've had, and I fell in love with the first one so much. I gotta have this lens in my collection. I can't give it up for some reason. When I let go of it, I was like, I gotta have it again for some reason. Mainly, again, I got this camera for my M42 screw mount lens collection, so I could have a body to go with it. Normally, I adapt these to my Micro Four Third systems. So, like I said, I'm a hybrid shooter, and I'll use a digital camera with like these old school film lenses. I have not tried this camera yet. I think I've put a roll of film in here. I don't think I've taken maybe I took one shot yet, maybe just one shot so far. I don't know. I bought this one because it has a depth of field preview on this button right here. I think before I had a Pentax Spotmatic, and that lens, that camera, it was good, but the images came out not flat but washed out a little bit. I don't know if maybe it was the metering or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna try this M42 body with these lenses, and hopefully this won't. If this comes out good, with good images, I'll keep this. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna sell it, because the M42 lenses to me are meant to just be adapted. I'm not gonna really shoot these bodies too much because I have too many other film cameras that I'm not using that are better than this. But I might keep this just because I want to have a camera that accepts these M42 lenses. But this one feels good in the hand. It's solid. I want to shoot this one, see how I like it. I do have, let's go back to my M42. Speaking of M42 lenses, here are the other ones that I have in my collection. And I fell in love this Mamiya Seikor. Like, I fell in love. I had this lens 3 times, I think. This is my third copy, and the first copy was a little loose. I think the focus ring, or something wrong with it. The focus ring was very loose, but it's not as loose on this one. And what I enjoy about this one is like it's got good colors. It's good standard colors. And it's built solidly, very bulletproof, basically. And the images it comes out like this is almost even better than my Canon lenses, and that's saying something because everybody knows those Canon lenses are like the best ones. But this is even better. I need to use this more often. I just have so many options that I just need to use it more because it's great. It's a great lens, and I love it. I can't get rid of this one. And then I recently got this Pentacon. It's like a good character lens. Like, it's the bokeh on this is crazy. It's not very sharp, but I love this lens too. And I'm falling in love with the whole M42 lineup, basically. So, those are those systems. I'm going to talk about my last film camera here. This is the Samsung Pheno 105. I put a roll of film through this, and it looks very modern. The pictures come out very crisp, almost like digital, but it's film. And I love this camera. I have another roll of film. I just put it in here, black and white this time. And this is a zoom lens, which is really cool. I don't really do zoom lenses again, but it's okay to have a zoom lens even if you don't shoot zooms. It goes like 38, 50, 60, 75, 80, 90, 105. And fun to shoot these little guys. I'm not very big on point and shoots, to be honest with you, because a lot of them break. They don't work great. Something happens to them. I just bought one before, and thing lasted one roll of film, not even a roll. It got through halfway, and then it stopped advancing the film. I get mad. That's good money that I'm spending, and then the thing doesn't work anymore. Give me a break, dude. All right, so on to my last two cameras. These are my most frequently used. These are my digital cameras. I've got a let's see, I've got two cameras and four lenses basically, and let's talk about the Olympus OM10 EM10. This is a real entry level body, but it's been great. I'll use this until the wheels fall off, and I'll continue to put my money into the lenses. That's where my emphasis goes, into the lenses, because to me the lenses are more important than the actual cameras. I have a little grip on here, which helps me. It's good for when I adapt a lens. Some of the lenses are heavy, and especially that zoom lens, that Vivitar zoom lens, it very much helps me keep it steady. This is a great camera. It's got very good stabilization. It's a micro four thirds sensor, so we just have to kind of keep that in mind. It has its limits. And then I have a macro f2.8. This is kind of a 60 millimeter equivalent macro lens. Very nice lens for getting close up shots, and I very much enjoy this. The camera has a tilt up screen, and it's got good modern features. Not the most modern camera in the world, but I like to hold on to stuff and learn my instrument very well versus continuing to upgrade and having to learn new stuff. I want to keep my cameras for a long time and learn them well. Have a few good solid pieces that work well. That's my philosophy. And then I have this GF1. This camera called out to me for a long time. I kept telling myself I want to get this camera. I never did until, well, not too long, maybe 3 months ago. And I finally bought one. It's in very good shape. The only thing I don't like is I think the orientation sensor doesn't work. So I could, if I shoot it, I like to shoot a lot of vertical shots, portrait oriented shots, but it's kind of a hassle because when you shoot a portrait shot, it doesn't rotate automatically. You have to rotate the picture in the camera or in your software, which really sucks, but it's not a big deal. This camera is okay to me. The only problem with this one is I wanted to use it for street photography, and the frame rates aren't that great. Maybe 2.5 frames per second, and I need a little bit more than that. But otherwise, this is a nice little pocketable camera. It's great because I can take off the viewfinder. Sometimes when you want to be more indiscreet and look like a tourist, you can just take that thing off and people won't bother you as much. They won't be as intimidated when you're not looking through the viewfinder. So that's very nice. But this spits out pretty decent images as well. I was surprised, the GF1. And it's just like a cult classic camera. I enjoy using this guy. The form factor is great as well. And then these are my last two lenses. I'll talk about this one first. This is my Olympus 45 1.8, a 90 millimeter equivalent. And this is a great lens. It's very sharp, and that focal length to me is like something special about it. And this can work wonders if you know how to use it. You just kind of have to get creative. And I like this lens a lot. I want to keep this for a long time. And then finally, my most prized lens is a Leica 25 millimeter f1.4. It's a 50 millimeter equivalent in micro four thirds. And this lens is really great. It's sublime, my best lens. The 50 millimeter focal length is so versatile. I'm very surprised at how natural it looks when you take pictures with this guy. And it's great. Very much enjoy it. So that's my lens collection. I hope you guys enjoyed. John Dominique, Prize Pictures. Peace.